Today's video, we're going to talk about Google Ads versus Meta Ads. Which one works the best with your business type, whether you're B2B versus B2C, because it's different for each one of these platforms as to which one works better most of the time, as well as local versus national businesses, including also product versus service businesses, which I didn't have room to fit in the title, but I'm also going to talk about this. So I see a lot of people have made videos on YouTube in the past about Meta Ads versus Google Ads, but they don't talk about the different industry types, which that matters everything as to which one you should be doing, at least starting out. Because eventually down the road, you should be doing both 98% of the time. It's just a matter of what works best first. I'm going to cover that in detail on this video so you actually know what you should be doing first if you haven't actually made your mind up about it yet, and that, or should I say, Meta Ads, whether it's for you or not, when you're already doing Google or vice versa. So I'll go over all that and I'll give you some examples of different markets where it's worked versus didn't work for each of these so you can understand best which one of these is going to work for you in your market. Before I do though, and before I get into the content, if you do not know who I am Corey Ziman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in the profitability of their ads up front, basically in excess of the management fees that we charge. We are the only agency out there who does anything like this, which should tell you something about the quality of the information that I'm sharing on today's video. So with that said, getting into the content. So what I got, of course, here is Google Ads versus Meta Ads separated out. And I'm going to go over the general truths of each one of these platforms as to which one works better for different business types, okay? Nothing is an absolute when it comes to advertising, which is why I personally still don't have a course that I sell on Google Ads or Facebook Ads and whatnot. I could talk about generalities, but there's no course that's going to tell you how to do ads for your market because every market's a little bit different for that matter. And the only course you could do is somebody made it a course about your industry, then it could work. That said, getting into the Google side here first and what those truths basically are and what it works best for. So for that matter, it's much better for B2C than B2B. This is something that most people would agree on that's been around the block and ran ads for a bunch of different companies, i.e. business agency owners themselves. The reason for this is pretty simple. The main thing is when people typically need to buy something themselves, if they don't have a reference or a referral, lesser price items, they basically never do, or they haven't gotten a referral from a friend to buy something, they're going to go to Google to find it. I mean, that's just the easy way to do it. For that matter, once in a while, people will search on social media search, the search engine that's available through the Facebook, Instagram, that kind of thing, but they're going to Google for the most part. Therefore, if you're not there, it's not a matter of if you're losing sales, you are. And if you don't want to lose the sales, then you just need to put together a strategy that will work that makes money, which if you haven't watched any of my other videos, I talk about all the time that if your competitors are making money, all you got to do to make that money for yourself is do better than them in terms of your ad copy, therefore click-through rate and your conversion rate on the clicks that you're getting with better landing pages, better website design, whatever it takes. So, but when it comes to the B2B side, people are way less trusting as to what Google just spits out as a company that you should use. And for that matter, ranking organically on Google is a lot better than running paid ads because they know those, not everybody, but a good chunk of people, they know that that's earned, not you're just paying your way to the top. So, like for our own business here, Guaranteed PPC or a PPC management company, we used to, when we first started out, about 10 years ago, been around for about 11 years now. We used to run our own ads on Google search for PPC companies, PPC services, and the like, for keywords like that. What we found is, though, that those particular clients are not really they don't understand PPC that well, and they're not looking to hire the best firm. They're just looking to hire a firm that can get the job done. When we started raising our prices over the years, we basically didn't have a message market match anymore, which is we're a cheap company that's a good enough solution, and therefore we weren't able to make the leads that we were getting from their work, which is why, people sometimes joke, ha ha ha, you're a PPC company who doesn't do PPC, which we do, it's just not on Google search. but people view people there as like a commodity, if you will. And so if you're looking for quality, higher paying customers or clients, you can't really get it through Google itself. You'll have a lot better success. And there's ways to do this technically on Google search, but for the most part, I would recommend that you at least first try to do outbound marketing. You create lists of emails and addresses where you can send emails, direct mail pieces out in the mail, take the email list, upload onto the ad platforms, target them on Google search itself as well. And there's a way that, if they search for your keywords, if you're an ADA compliance company that, helps people with disability compliance, people looking for ADA compliance companies, when they search for that and they're on your email list, you can have your ad show up. And if not, don't. That's actually a pretty effective strategy, because at least then, the person that you're getting is quality company that has the profile that you want, versus just anybody who searches, which on a whole, you're not going to get very many whales there, so to say. Again, this is not true in all B2B markets, but that's generally the case running Google search ads for B2B markets itself. And for the most part, if you're looking for higher end, you're not going to necessarily be able to get it that easily. If you sell cheaper, then it can be a great channel. Furthermore, also getting the client to close it's harder in general, because you're seen as a commodity. They're getting several quotes, and it's not like building up, for instance, a social following, or you are marketing content through LinkedIn ads or something like that, where you can get somebody who now trusts you because they've read something about you, not just getting in front of them when they go to buy, which you have no credibility with them, practically speaking. And therefore, the sales, you got to have a really good salesperson to close enough leads to make the cost of the ad spend pay for itself. And the ad spend is not cheap. They charge a lot of money for these clicks anymore. So anyway, for B2B, I'm not going to be thinking about Google search generally as the very first thing I do, unless I sell something that's more on the lower end of the market, or it's something that's just very cheap or inexpensive to begin with, that most people can afford by default. And that, ultimately, if you're in a business where you say, oh, they don't have the budget, then Google search ads might not work for you, because many people that don't have the budget ultimately. And for that matter, it's going to be smaller companies. We had a software company before that we worked with that does construction software, but they weren't able to sell it to companies that are doing they have 10, 15, 20 employees or something like that. And the campaign totally failed, because that's basically what the Google search ads turn out. And we had to do the email list upload trick that I mentioned a minute ago to get it to work finally. But that's a great example of, what Google search ads can do versus what it can't do for B2B. For that matter, and when I say Google ads, by the way, before I move on here real quick, B2B, if you could use Google Display Network, you can use YouTube ads, demand gen ads themselves for B2B, and it works rather well, because people that are in market for what you sell, like if you're an IT security company, you can have, when people are looking for IT security tips, or they were looking for companies in the past, you can promote a white paper to them to get them to download that, call them up, which we've done in that particular market, and actually 2 minutes into reading it, you can have a conversation with them. And as a result of that, you can get better quality people. Given, for that matter, the whales will do research. They just aren't apt to just click on the first Google ad they see as much and just go with that company automatically, like I was talking about before. So for search ads, it certainly is different than if we're talking about non-search engine ads itself that you can do through different campaign types in Google ads. Now for Google ads as well, if it's B2B, you are going to target and do search ads, buying terms are where all the money is, practically speaking. And I'd say 90% of the time, if you aren't 90% plus of the time, if you're not able to target keywords like agencies, firms, services, companies, you're not going to make any money with search ads for B2B. So if you're the ADA compliance services company, you need to target people typing in ADA compliance services, ADA compliance companies, ADA compliance firms, ADA compliance agencies. If you do fractional CFO services, it's fractional CFO services, fractional CFO companies, fractional CFO agencies, and the like. They have to have that, what I call a buying suffix at the end. Why? Because Google, most of the people that are looking for fractional CFOs, they're not looking to hire somebody, they're looking for information. And you go at them with a buying approach, like hire me now, there's no message market match there, and your campaign's not going to make money. You could go at them with information in that case, like we were talking about before, have a buyer's guide, whatever. But going at them with trying to get actual people looking to hire you right now, it's not profitable anymore. I will say for B2B, generally speaking, if I were to start a brand new B2B services company today, I am actually going to just try to market content first. It's so much easier to build up a stable of quality clients that way than trying to run Google search ads. For people that are just looking for a lot of times short-term help, not looking to spend a lot, even though you can get major contracts there. I don't want to say you can't, but it's more like 1 in 100 versus 1 in 5 like you would kind of want. The real big clients that you would want because of the lack of trust that people have and the people that gravitate to those ads to begin with on Google search. I'm going to run content instead, and then I'm going to try to build up a sales process that gets people that read that content to want to do business with us. I mean, we do it at our own agency as well. We switched from Google search ads for people to get people, and then we switched to doing content and get people to view our content. And that's how we built our firm. And it's very successful now. Also with Google Ads, it's much better for local services than national as a whole. For that matter, Google Ads will pretty much always work for people like deck builders, local dermatologists, and works very, very well. It's not a matter of if it works, because that's how people find the companies they're looking for. They go to Google search. And once in a while for like CPR, training services and weird, odd things like that, they may go to a TikTok or a Facebook to search for it, whatever. And maybe if you're marketing to people that are like in the younger age range, they'll go to social media and search there. But for the most part, it will always work and much better than Meta ads itself, and would always want to start there versus Meta ads for anything local service-wise. Local products as well, similar, the same thing actually, which we run a lot of local product campaigns, whether it's people selling construction materials or people looking for selling elderly care supplies. We'll run ads for people looking for those stores, or furniture, might be a furniture store, and we drive people to that store, and then we track everything in store, whether that person buys or not, and feed that back into the ad account to make the ads work. But for national, services, it's a lot harder to get it to work because, again, you're seen as kind of like a commodity type company. If you're going to hire, let's say, a product development or design company itself, and you go to type in product development companies on Google, on Google, there's dozens of options if you count the organic listings as well. You better have a damn good salesperson, which may have to be you, the owner doing it, that has all the knowledge of your trade in order to make those leads actually profitable, as expensive as they're going to be, in order to make things work. And you also better know damn well how to set up an efficient campaign along with it. For that matter, you may not actually run your ads for that and instead go the route, like I mentioned before, where you actually try to do organic marketing content and pushing it out via paid ads, or marketing content and building an organic following on social itself. Why? Because you can differentiate your brand that way. And there may not be anything about what you're doing that's different in terms of the delivery of your services, but because you're famous in your niche, they're going to go with you for that reason alone, versus fighting like hell once you do have the lead to convince them why they should do business with you, which you can do if your sales process is good enough. But for a lot of you guys, hiring the right kind of salespeople who can close at a high rate, that might be a $125,000 a year employee, to have the caliber of person that can take somebody who's evaluating 8 companies and getting them to go with you at a high percentage of the time, especially if you're selling on the higher end of the spectrum in terms of cost. So those are some basic truths about Google Ads. We're talking about B2B versus B2C, and then local versus national, when and where it will work and how much. Now, when we're talking about Meta ads now on that side of things, all right, which, by the way, if you have any questions here, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. And then similar to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already and you like the content here and you want to make millions of dollars a year running ads for your business, you should subscribe, for that matter, because I have nothing else besides content dedicated to that on this channel. And it comes from somebody who spends 40 hours a week legitimately just doing ad strategy at our firm for our dozens of clients. And I share on the weekends 30 hours a week just what I find works and what doesn't work. And I've been doing ads for 20 years altogether now. So you're not going to find better, more relevant information about this particular topic in general. Most of the information you find online is given to you by people who don't run ads or run very few of them, and they're just making it up. They're making money off of courses, ad revenue, and stuff like that. So this is real information. So you should subscribe. You should also check out my blog on my site. I have a fantastic blog that I write on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog, where you can find step-by-step instructions on how to actually use the strategies we're using to guarantee results for our clients with screenshots, with everything you need to use them. So if you like the channel, definitely check that blog out as well if you haven't already. Going back to what I was saying here, on meta ads, okay, the general truth with that is they're better for B2B than B2C. So it's kind of the opposite. If I'm going to go B2B, like I said, if I'm going to start a B2B company today, I'm just going to try to do the content angle right away. Yes, it's going to be slower kind of starting out because it takes a long time to put together quality content and then find kind of like a list to target of people that meet your customer profile / understand exactly what they want to hear versus just saying, yeah, we also offer CFO services and getting there at the right place at the right time on Google search. Because the quality of the person that I can get that way is better, but more importantly, they're going to really understand why me, because I can demonstrate my expertise, knowledge, and our differentiators because I got a person that was trained and willing to take a step back, read, and learn what they need to know to make a right decision in that market versus somebody who's just like, I need an ad manager now. PPC services, Google, boom. Oh, let me call this company. And then having no background. And then when you state the price, they don't have any foundation as to why they should be paying that when somebody else offers it for $2.99 a month and doesn't have that experience. So when you're talking about that generally applies for services. If I'm going to do B2B services, I'm probably going to start out with meta ads / LinkedIn ads / demand gen, YouTube ads, not Google search ads. If it's for product though, B2B for product actually is really good. It's actually so good, I would say as a whole, more profitable than selling product B2C. Why? Because most companies that are selling to B2B, selling product B2B, they don't know how to actually do Google ads as a whole. The B2C product companies, their whole business relies around e-commerce and understanding how to do marketing. I mean, that's the whole company. You can outsource all the delivery of your product to an FBA or a 3PL company. They do the delivery. You get the product from China. The whole business is, can you market it effectively on Google and all these platforms? For B2B, the company has relationships and all that, and they don't focus on the marketing so much. So it's actually, there's not much competition there, and you could absolutely crush it if you know what you're doing, running Google search ads for selling products on B2B, whether it be specialized tools, selling replacement parts for factory equipment, that kind of thing. It's extremely easy to win in that space. So with that, I wouldn't start out with meta ads. I would start out with Google search ads if you're selling product for selling B2B. Now, the other truth here is national or at least large area targeted companies, you're going to be better off running for companies like those meta ads first than local. With Facebook ads, it's a lot of trouble to figure out how to get your ads set up right with the right offer, the right landing pages and all this stuff, that if you're only going to market in a local market, it's often not going to be worth it because there's not that many buyers there to begin with to get in front of. And when somebody sees your ad a couple, 3 times already, you got to put together another ad just to get them to where you could keep the campaign going. And it ends up being a lot of work just to maintain it. Whereas on Google search, yes, there's ongoing work, but once you find an ad that works, it pretty much just churns out money as is for a decade once you get the actual ad and landing page formula down. It's not worth it nearly as much on a local level to go through the trouble, risk, spending the money, doing the testing, all of it, just to get a few customers on Meta itself. Now, for that matter, some businesses like a weight loss clinic that can apply to a decent amount of money, for a local business, it still kind of can make sense, if you will, for something that's that mainstream. And for local, I would say, yeah, Meta ads can work great itself. I'm still going to run Google search ads first for that, then come back to Meta. Whereas for a national company, selling nationally or regionally, or if you're in a major metro market like LA, New York, Meta ads is actually going to be quite profitable once you find out the formula there. And if you just know what you're doing, as far as coming out with ad copy, you can make a return much faster than Google search because there's hell of a lot less competition there. On Google search, there's a lot of competition. If you want, and Facebook ads, it's all run off an algorithm as well in terms of, the results of your ads are predicated on past performance of your ads and seeing who turns into a lead/sale and who doesn't. Google is as well. But Google anymore has a huge amount of time for you to get your ads profitable, because the ads that are profitable and that have been running ads for a while already on that platform already, they divvy out all the good clicks to the people that are already good advertisers, or that they know are good advertisers there. And you have to advertise and get in front of the worst part of the traffic on Google search for a long time just to get some data going and for the algorithm to see you're doing a good job. And it can often take 6-12 months before a campaign's profitable on Google search because of this. Whereas if you get the right ad figured out on Facebook, you can make money in a week already. With the downside being that you actually have to have the right offer. It's all about that ad offer. Can you come up with an exciting offer that's going to work? For that matter, you can't just say, if you're a kitchen remodeler, you can't just say, I'm a kitchen remodeler, get a quote. I don't care how good you are or think you are at targeting, that's not going to be good enough, because frankly, people know they can go to Google search at any time and get, a company that does that. So why am I going to respond now? Specifically right now, as I'm trying to relax on Facebook / look at some pictures of my family members and so forth. So, you have to come up with an offer, and you have to get really creative. Some people, we would, in that remodeling space, will have like a 50% off kitchen remodeling offer. And it's like a ridiculous offer, but we would get people to download that and put their email address, and then we'd have high-powered salespeople calling them up and saying, hey, this is a special that we're running this month. We've never ran this before. You can get a really good offer on this ultimately, but what we're offering 50% off on is only limited to like this small set of services. And so if you want something else besides this, then of course we can't offer 50% off. And then a lot of people will hang up the phone or whatever, but you'll get 1 in 20 if the salesperson's good, that will say they'll go with it because they were kind of already, wanting to remodel their kitchen already. You were targeting people that have recently moved, which most people, when they move, they want to get their kitchen remodeled right away. That's the most common time they do it. And then you have a working funnel. But for most people, that's way too complicated /hard / they don't want to do business that way. And they're just not going to get it to work. And if you're going to think short-sighted like that, because you don't want to get really crafty and crazy with your offers and all that, you go Google search ads. But then for a market like that, with Google search ads, it can easily take 6 months in a medium-sized city for your ads to be profitable, if not a little bit longer than that. And you're going to be throwing $3,000 a month in ad spend for 6 months to build up your ad quality scores, your ad rank, just to be able to get your cost per click down and your conversion rates up, because Google's giving you more quality users that before we're giving most of that to your competition up front for it to make sense and for it to be profitable at a base level. So you might be $20,000 in before it works, which it's still worth it to do that, because you'll make $20,000 a month every month in profit on year 3. But it'll take $20,000 worth of ad spend just to break even on your costs on that Google search campaign. Whereas with Facebook, you can hit it again. You could spend $500 and be profitable already. But you have to be creative with what you're doing. If you're in a boring market that, there is no pizzazz to what you're doing. If you're in a small market, it often will not be worth it to do it, because you'll burn out your list of people you're marketing to right away, unless you're offering something super mainstream that can apply to almost everybody. And then for Meta ads as well, this is better for services than product in general, as I've found. If you are selling product, there's nothing better than Google search ads. Why? Mainly because you run shopping ads. The picture of the product's there on the top of Google with the price. You get to see, the person gets to see what it is that you sell before you even have to pay anything to get them to your site. Like, easy to make money running ads like that on Google search. You can run text ads and it's also easy, but not nearly as easy as shopping campaign like I just described, where you just upload your products to them and you're done. There's no having to figure out the right hook or offer or anything like that. However, when you're talking about services, it's actually much harder to get the right people to click on your ads to begin with. And then with that, harder to get them to turn into a sale because, again, you're more of a commodity when you're there listed with everybody else on Google search than everybody else. Given that when you sell products, you're the only one with that exact product. If you sell product that's relatively unique and interesting, then running product ads on Meta is actually quite profitable. We've sold everything from toolboxes there to mattresses, but they all had a differentiation point and we were able to demonstrate visually in those cases why it's better and explain it. Whether it's toolbox jumping up and down on the toolbox drawers to show how durable the thing is, or on the mattress where we were abusing the mattress, showing how durable the thing is and what you're getting for the money, and then you're putting the typical, like wine glass on the bed and jumping up and down on it and showing how good it is to not disturb your partner, and showing temperature tests where it shows that the mattress stays cool in the middle of the night and stuff like that. So if you can actually make your product look and demonstrate it to make it look good, or even compare it to the competitor's product and show how much better it is than them in some occasions, you can make product ads on Meta work. But the most money on Meta ads with services typically. With services, the general golden formula is you find out what result do people want with your service. So for instance, if we're in the marketing space, people want sales when they buy marketing services. Well, they want those results. You throw up the results on the ad and you say, hey, you want results like these? They click through, they turn into a lead, and then you sell them. It's not that complicated. On the flip side, if you're doing fractional CFO services itself, you can explain why, as a business owner, are you trying to prevent fraud from your accounting to your accounts receivable and stuff like that? Then if so, then we can almost guarantee that it won't happen to you. If you contact us, we can explain how. You don't offer and sell the CFO services directly, you sell the result. Just like the marketing services, you sell the result. You don't sell the service. That a lot of people get that wrong itself. You don't have to necessarily just sell the result to them as well. You can also do a what they call like an ethical bribe, where like for the same CFO service company, we would offer a gift card saying, hey, if you get into a demo with us, we'll give you a $20 gift card just for your time. Assuming that you're a qualified business owner, we'll give it to you. And that may not sound like much, but it was actually getting people to sign up. And then in the demo, we would get 1 in 15 people or so to actually, buy in on the fractional CFO services. So, in that case, we just had the right list that we were targeting. We knew if we can get them into a demo, we can make them understand why they need the service. And so let's just bribe them to get the demo. Simple. And that's a really good formula for a lot of companies as well. But with services, it's simple. You find out what they want, whether it's the bribe, whether it's the gift card in that case, or whether it's, they want to prevent embezzlement type fraud in their company, whether it's they, want to get more sales in their company, and you show evidence of that somehow in terms of this company uses it, or, here's a screenshot showing the results, and you can get, a lot of leads for Meta ads. And that's better because once you get them on the hook, you can close them at a super high rate, and you'll have on top of that the quality of users you want, because you can actually narrow down the targeting to the type of businesses you want a lot more, versus on Google search, you're one of many, and it's a lot harder to close unless you have really good salespeople. Generally speaking though, for services, I'm going to run both Google search ads itself and Meta ads. Services itself, I'm going to try to get Meta ads to work first, and then once I'm already making money, I'm going to bring in Google search ads. Not because it's super profitable, but I want when people find us via Facebook and they Google us later on, that they can still find us on Google relatively easily, and I don't lose the sale to one of our competitors. So I would want to get both of them working because of that, so to say. So, and then definitely for, like national services, it's going to be very profitable to run ads on Meta. And if you just know how to put together an offer and not just being boring and saying, here's my service, do you want to buy it or not? that'll be more profitable sooner than Google search ads, assuming you have the right service and it's something that, will, because it won't work for every service out there. Versus local, I'm going to go for terms of services, I'm going to go Google search ads every time up front. So with that said, I know this is probably a little bit confusing as to distilling down everything I just said. The easiest way to fix that is to reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com and do a coaching call with me. In 30 minutes, I can figure out, with all your objectives and what assets you have and resources you have, whether it should be Meta ads or Google ads with 99% accuracy, because I ran hundreds and hundreds of campaigns. I pretty much know what will work for different industries, and because I can compare it to all the other work that we've done. We also do have a full white glove service as well, where we can actually set up all the ads for you on these platforms. I can tell you which one to use, what your results will be, what we can guarantee in terms of results, and then actually do the work for you. We're the only agency that offers a guarantee, so that should tell you something about the service quality itself. But with that though, we don't take on just any client. We got to know we can get results for you, but at least you would know where you stand if you reach out to me. We can have a conversation together and find out what kind of results we can get for you if there's results there. Most markets that, most guys that already have some sales coming in, we can probably make something work some way. So you can reach out to me if you're interested in that. I also have templates available. If you are in a niche market where we've already got results already, you can buy the template of the campaign templates on Meta, on Google. If we have both, the landing page template, all of it, and then with that, you could copy paste that into your ad account to get the same results we are getting with none of the work and hassle and money that we had to spend over the years many times to build up the results that we're getting for a client in a different city, country, or state that you're in. For that matter, we've worked in hundreds of niches now as well. So, because we've been in business a long time now, we have dozens of clients at any given time. So the chances are quite high that we've got something that's already working that you could just use and copy paste into your ad account. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com, and I'll tell you what results we got in your market or a market you're interested in entering even. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that pretty much. So whether it's Google or Meta ads really depends on if you're doing products versus services, products being better for Google, services better on Meta as a whole on a generalized basis. National stuff works better on Meta than on Google, at least from the standpoint that, to stand corrected there, unless you're going to go national or a very large area that you're targeting, Meta ads is kind of a waste of time in terms of what you can get out of it, and then you may just go with Google instead in that case. And finally, for B2B businesses, Meta works a little bit better because you can differentiate yourself versus Google. You can't so easily, and therefore it takes better salespeople to close the leads that you're getting in terms of follow-up, really, really good persuasion skills and so forth. With that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said Google search ads was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.